Hi, welcome to Syndy's Kitchen. Today we're going to be talking about butter cookies. Butter cookies are one of the easiest cookies you can make at Christmas time. They're my kids' favorite cookies to leave for Santa. A couple other reasons we're making butter cookies today is because they're super easy to decorate, don't need any icing, and they're good for people who are on sugar-reduced diets because you can use sugar substitutes. So, first of all, the butter. It's got to be softened butter. I've tried using brick hard butter and melting it in the microwave. Didn't taste any good. I tried margarine. Still nothing. You really need to use softened room temperature butter for the best taste. It's buttery, flaky goodness. I like using my stand mixer, but you can use it any kind of mixing by hand that you wish. So 1 cup of butter. Always use unsalted butter. If you buy it in sticks, you need 2 sticks. And the reason is there's no salt in this recipe. 6 easy ingredients: butter, eggs, vanilla, baking powder, sugar, flour. 6 things you probably all have in your kitchen. Now the sugar, I know we're all trying to get less refined sugar in our diet. So even though it calls for 1 cup of sugar, I use only 1/2 cup of refined white sugar. The reason I like to use a sugar substitute is because I want less refined white sugar in my life. You can use any kind you want. I like this Splenda. You can use Truvia or stevia or whatever you have in the grocery store. You can get online in a pandemic. So because this is such potent stuff, you only have to use 1/4 cup. So 1/2 cup of white sugar and 1/4 cup of the stevia, Splenda, Truvia, whatever sugar substitute you use. I don't use just a sugar substitute because you still need that flavor of the white sugar, and especially if you're cooking with fruit, you need that caramelization. So I use a combination for reduced sugar. Then put it on the stand mixer for 2 to 3 minutes, really to get it fluffy and all those sugar granules dissolved into the fluffy butter. The sugar granules of a sugar substitute are much bigger than regular refined white sugar, so you really need to get beaten 2 or 3 minutes. Every once in a while, stop your mixer and scrape down the paddle and edges just to make sure that all the sugar's getting incorporated and not quite fluffy enough yet. Let her go. To check if your butter and sugar are really mixed together well, just get a little bit on a spoon and try it with your fingers. If it feels too grainy, then you know it's not quite fluffy enough. But this feels great. Next 2 ingredients, butter, sugar, egg and vanilla. So just crack an egg into your stand mixer and add 2 teaspoons of artificial vanilla extract, or the lid. I'm hoping Santa's going to bring me some vanilla bean paste in my stocking this year, which I can't wait to try with these cookies. After you've mixed in the egg and vanilla, next add your flour and baking powder, your 2 dry ingredients. Alternate them. It takes a lot of flour for this recipe, 3 cups in total, but just add them 1 cup at a time and mix it in with the other 4 ingredients. Towards the end, it's going to get super tough with that 3rd and final cup of flour, but you want your dough to be tough enough to pop out onto the table and roll into cookies. So keep adding and mixing. Come and have a look at this, G. Mix in, that's only after 1 cup of flour. It already looks like a really good dough, but it's going to need 2 teaspoons of baking powder and another 2 cups of flour. So 3 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Those are your 2 dry ingredients. And you can see this dough looks super dry. Just keep trying to get it into one big dough ball and then dump it out onto your clean kitchen table. And with your clean hands, try to make it into 4 different balls of dough. If you want 4 different colors, which we always do, try to get yellow, green, blue, and red for Christmas ornaments. Okay, I'm going to dump it out now. This is definitely the fun part for my kids when they were little, was dumping the dough out and mixing it with your hands. It's really easy if you have wet hands to make this work. It won't stick so much to your hands. But getting it mixed into some balls of dough is so much fun. If you're lucky enough to have your grandkids with you in the pandemic, they will love this recipe. So kind of mush it into 2 balls to start with, and then mush those into 2 smaller balls. So you end up with 1 pretty good ball of dough to do your first dyeing. Now the other ones you have to cover with a tea towel or plastic wrap or something that your dough will dry out. Don't refrigerate it, you won't need it that firm, but you really do need to cover it somehow so that while you're working with the other balls of dough, these ones don't get too dry. I'm going to use these Color Right food dye that I got from Michael's. They're fantastic, but these dyes are so strong, you only need like 1 drop and you get a fabulous, fabulous color into your dough. Now the fun thing is you can use your hands. I'm going to use 1 more drop. You can use your hands to do this, and this dough is so tender and wonderful that it doesn't matter how often you knead it, it still will be wonderful to roll out. So just knead that food coloring into your dough until you get the desired color. I'll show you the green that I've got already started. It looks tie-dye. The more that you roll it and cut it, the nicer it will look. After you've dyed your dough, which is a lot of fun and makes your hands all psychedelic, put your dough between 2 sheets of wax paper to roll out to about a quarter-half inch thick. Start in the center of each ball, turn it a quarter turn and roll out. And you can tell the dough is so tender from all that butter. It just needs the wax paper so it doesn't stick to your table. And won't need flour. So peel the excess dough away from your trees or ornaments or whatever cookie cutter you want to use, and then lift them onto some parchment sheets. Smells great. Nice and buttery. The reason my kids loved these cookies so much because they were so easy to decorate. So have a look at what I've done with the red. You can use these little alphabet cups my daughter gave me to spell some small words to go onto your cookies, like Santa, or maybe their initials, or Noel. And another fun thing is to use nesting cookie cutters, because you can cut one of one size in one color and then in another. And I have this little cookie cutter that makes stars and all kinds of shapes, and so the kids like to do that to decorate the tree. Just pop them out, pop them on the tree, and it's like they have decorations on them. Then of course, with the yellow, I will make a star for the top. So after you've cut out all of your cookies and decorated them with more pieces of dough in different shapes, then my favorite part with the kids was the leftover pieces of dough all mixing together into a tie-dye cookie. And I would like to show you this interesting cookie cutter from Scientific Sweets. It's a cookie, I guess a cookery in Winnipeg. And they don't have a website, but you can message them on Facebook for these cute cutters. There's a mini one too. You could do the mini one in a different color and put it here. Or you could put a specific symbol or sparkle right on Westman so you could have it there for Brandon. Scientific Sweets Cookie Shop in Winnipeg. I got these at Third and Bird at Clear Lake. But of course with the pandemic, there's no pop-up cookie shops going on now. After your cookies are ready on the parchment paper, I like to pop them into the freezer for 10 minutes or so while the oven heats up. It's great to preheat your oven, but it's also great to chill your dough. And the reason for that, 375. The reason for that is so the edges stay nice and crisp and they don't spread too much in the oven, because they're so buttery they can generally tend to spread. If you want to use sprinkles, make sure you just give the cookies a little tap so that they're right into the dough. The same if you put on a second layer of anything, just tap it on to make sure that it's stuck in there well to bake. Okay, let's see how they look. Oh, they smell fantastic. They're nice and puffy because they were so thick. These ones were in for 8 minutes. Now these ones I just took out of the freezer and they're much thinner, so they'll probably take a lot less time. Please leave them out for a little bit and let them cool just on the pan and then put them onto a wire rack, about 5 minutes. Tie-dyed ornaments. That's cute. Butter cookies for Santa. Delicious, so buttery, sugar reduced, easy to make, no icing. Thanks for coming to Syndy's Kitchen.